Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus Pimp Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, with a reading for the solar eclipse in Aries that will be taking place on April 8th. This was requested by a friend of mine and a viewer. Shout out to Sir. I don't know if she want to be, you know what I'm saying, shout out by name yet or not, but we'll handle it when we get there. And if she do, y'all know by who she is when the time comes. Okay, anywho, most importantly, we can go ahead and get into without further ado. Now, what we're going to be focused on predominantly is why people are freaking out, having a bit of panic and paranoia as it concerns this solar eclipse that is on the way. Why are people fear-mongering? What is the good news? What is the challenging news? We're going to tap into a few, possible political intents, and how can we best prepare and make the best of it all. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get into the specificities of the first layout, which is why are people freaked out? So we have the world, and we're gonna start off unpacking it because, very simply stated, and like spirit spit these out very simply stated. The world card is very obvious here. Hearsay. People are freaking out due to hearsay, not actually doing their own research, just listening to the masses and people around them that are also just going by hearsay, not doing their own research. And of course, fear mongering also goes into that. Okay, we'll expand on the fear mongering when we get to this section. Okay. Now there's also some elements of PTSD going on here, whereas because of a whole lot of things that have happened over the past couple of years with, the panini, the lockdown that had happened 2020 and then some, you know what I'm saying? The multitude of chaotic and catastrophic things that happened from that time, and some, in more recent times, just things happening that are having a drastic turning of the tables as far as shifting the understanding of what people understood the world to be. So, some of you may have heard people saying that the world will end on April 8th. And that is not literal. The world as you know it, the world as a lot of people have understood it. And that's, a part of the PTSD element here. Over the past, not even just couple years, over the past 5 to 10 years, the world as a lot of people have known it and understood it to be has drastically shifted. And it's not even so much of drastically new things happening besides truths coming out, things that have always been going on just got exposed, and just more of the information got exposed. Like for instance, it's coming to me, I heard a lot of people saying that like their childhoods were ruined by the Nickelodeon documentary and everything. And I can understand why people would say that, but at the same time, there's an element of people feeling like they were lied to back in the day, and the information that they've gotten now is just like, it's like their world has been shattered and all this other shit. And I get that to an extent. It's just another example of taking things at face value and people not just simply paying attention, because the things that those people described on the Nickelodeon documentary is not new. Like, I grew up hearing about the Shirley Temples, the Judy Garlands, etc., 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 the kids from Little Rascals. Like, that sort of thing is not new. What is new is the truth being encouraged, speaking out being more encouraged, and people actually listening. That's what's new. Okay? The news about Diddy, it's not new. It's just more people are speaking out and more people are actually listening. And that's, a similar thing. Like, the purpose of me saying it is that it's a similar thing going on here. Solar eclipses, veils lifting, are not new. All these astrological, spiritual things, it's not new. What's new? It's social media, and therefore information being passed a lot faster, and things being exposed a lot easier. Again, the encouragement of truth, the encouragement of actually paying attention and listening. So yeah, all that said, people are really just having to release their grasp on feeling like they always knew everything type shit. Okay, so the other side of this is the Nine of Cups, and this is more so tapping into the people who have been having a lot of anxiety, crazy dreams, being drastically sleepy, being on edge, irritable, agitated, things of that nature, having things like sporadically happen in their lives type shit. And what that is, we got the Nine of Cups here. What that is heart chakra imbalances. So things being triggered up for you to unpack and deal with and release to basically lighten your own load, so that when the solar eclipse comes into play, you get the most and the best out of it. Like, you're getting a head start on your blessings, essentially. Getting a head start on the potential road openings that the eclipse can and is subject to bring. Because in actuality, like, what I'm picking up here is like much more good coming from the solar eclipse than anything. It's just a matter of people have gotten so used to being played and manipulated, and so comfortable in being gaslit and silenced. There's this overcomfortability in Stockholm syndrome and imposter syndrome, things of that nature. And the solar eclipse is going to give a swift kick in the ass to those who need to snap the fuck out of it. Because essentially being stuck in that and being comfortable in that is blocking blessings, and also holding up divine purposes, divine interventions, things that need to be happening, actions that need to be taken by chosen ones. And I say this a lot in readings, like, when you hold yourself back from committing to your divine purpose, you actually hold a whole lot of other people back. People who you may not even know, people who you may not ever know. And essentially, that holds back major elements of the world, the universe, because there are changes that each individual is meant to spring into action, spring into happening. And when you don't do it, when you delay yourself, you delay more greatness, you delay betterment, you delay evolution of the universe, which is also another reason why the world card is there. Because we're taught to hate ourselves so much by this society that it never crosses our mind how important the simple things are that we do, or even just our own existence, how important our own existence is, let alone tapping into and acting in our power as individuals, let alone attracting our soul village, doing what we need to do to tap into our higher selves, to come in contact with our soul village and carry out these things that we desire to carry out, and also that we need to carry out to make the world a better place. Like, we're often thinking so small. We're often thinking only in our neck of the woods as it concerns the quality of our own lives. But we're not thinking about how we need to acquire quality in our own lives in order to spread it to the masses. And it's like, just as vigorous as these fear mongers are in spreading fear, we need to be just as enthused and adamant about spreading optimism, victory, encouragement, self-love, self-confidence, courage. you know? And that's what's coming up here. That's where the anxiety is kind of coming from, because those of us that do generate high vibrational energy and are meant to spread it, those of us that do hold and have divine truths that may not be the cutest, may need to expose some people, huh? May need to expose some corporations, huh? And see, that's not a bad thing. But the way we have been conditioned, we're so used to thinking that us being unapologetically honest, being unapologetically confident, being unapologetically talented means that we're going to have to fight, means that we're going to get beat down, struck down, blackballed, etc. And in some instances, you may have to fight, but that doesn't mean shrink yourself. It's a time and a place for everything, including war. And a part of self-love is having a sense of urgency to protect yourself and therefore others who also need your type of protection, right? And so that's something else that the solar eclipse is bringing in. Because there's also elements of third eye chakra imbalance. And that's where, a lot of fear is coming from, because you're not, like, you're too worried about the world, too worried about what other people are going to think and how other people are going to react to your emergence and your evolution. And that is basically giving a slight to your higher self, your own sense of power, as well as your divine realm. Some other elements of, the anxiety and all of that is some people are mediums, and there's a much higher level of spiritual presence going on. Lost loved ones, very present here as earth warriors and things of that nature. And your abilities as a medium are strengthening. And a lot of people are often afraid to tap into these abilities, which is totally understandable. Howsoever, you might want to get over it. And I don't say that to be rude or mean or anything. I say that to be real, because the more you ignore those abilities and don't work on strengthening them, the more that fear and anxiety will heighten. The more that the spirits try to make themselves apparent to you, the more that type shit is going to freak you out. Not only that, but the more vulnerable you make yourself to dark spirits. You think that you're protecting yourself by not strengthening that ability, by not tapping into that ability, but you're actually making yourself more vulnerable to angry spirits, to dark spirits, to trickster spirits. And not only does that cause you to attract energy vampires and abusers and things of that nature, you attract the spirits of abusers, narcissists. You attract, in simple terms, demonic spirits, because you're leaving yourself vulnerable. You're leaving that ability in its unevolved state. Therefore, you will pick up more and attract more and be open to more unevolved spirits. So it's, might want to work on that. And I may do some videos that can help y'all help yourselves in that area. Okay? So anything else on this corn? Oh, toxicity in the village. Some of the anxiety and everything has been coming from, like, people in your circle, people in your environment. So that could be your home space, your workspace, just anybody that you interact with on a daily basis, people in your friend group, your family, whatever, what have you. Again, any types of group of people that you interact with on a regular basis, there may be some people somewhere in there that are very pessimistic or agents of chaos, may even be jealous of you in some type of way. And it's a need to perhaps do some protective rituals on yourself, or say some protective affirmations, do some protective prayers over yourself and over the high vibrating elements of your soul family. And or the solar eclipse may bring about some situations that will give you a sense of urgency to cut some people off. And that's again kind of going back to that third eye situation, because you may be picking up on that intuitively and subconsciously, but somewhere for some of you, you may be gaslit into oblivion. Like you may be used to being gaslit to a point where you do it to yourself, and you know you need to cut these people off, or you know you need to cut this person off, and you just like you don't have that sense of urgency because again, the way you've been manipulated so much throughout your life and gaslit so much throughout your life, you now have a habit of doing it to yourself. And the solar eclipse is going to strip you from that, going to yank you from that. And so that's another part of like these messages coming up about getting your heart chakra balanced and getting your third eye chakra balanced in order to help that, in order to help it not be such a harsh band-aid rippage. So yeah, we're gonna wrap up right there. And I was going to do all of these layouts in one video, but I'm actually going to split this one up by layout. So the next part will tap into why people have been fear mongering, like people in general and people of the media. That'll be the next layout and video for this particular overall reading on the solar eclipse in Aries coming April 8th. And with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this couch right. And I'm thoroughly appreciative of the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly quotas for the next time and the next part of this reading. And be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you all light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.